Okay, now I'm going to put in place the insulation below the damp course. I've actually been putting this off because I couldn't find any videos on YouTube of how to do it. But I think I've worked out what I need to do. All I do is cut this. Now it's a little bit strangely shaped. This is apparently to make it lock together a bit more easily. But I'm going to cut this to a very shallow angle this way, so to make sure that any water that gets into it comes out this way rather than going back in. And then I'm going to put a bit of foam that covers this bit, but I'm going to stick the foam to the top of the bead here, because it's much easier to stick foam under here rather than trying to stick it onto the boards. So I'll stick the foam under here in a long line and cut this to the exact size that it just slots into place. And then I'm going to put on the back of it the adhesive, but I'm not going to put the adhesive right up to the top here because I don't want any damp to breach up to here. So I'm going to put the adhesive around this level and make sure it's all sealed really nicely so that no air can get in, and that should make a really nice insulated lower part of the wall as well. Okay, so here I'm just rasping off the top of this to make sure it's at a downward angle. It's very easy to do. Okay, I've cut it to size now. One learning point is that the bottom of this actually isn't that level, so I've had to cut it to make sure that it is higher in some places in order to fit over this, for instance here, this slightly higher bit of stone. But that's in place now, so all I need to do is actually put the adhesive on the back and stick it into place once I've put the layer of foam here. Okay, I'm putting the tape in place now. And one thing I've learned is it's much easier, rather than sticking the tape on top of the board, to stick the tape onto the underside of what the board's going to be touching. So I'll just stick it all along the underside of here and then put the boards in place. Okay, so there's the tape in all along the underside of this, and then I'm just going to put the boards in. So here's the render on it, just a very thin layer. I've kept the render away from the top here so that it doesn't breach the damp course, and then I've also moved it round here, and that's where it's going to go around this vent. So it'll create a perfect seal and let the air into the vent and not breach the damp course. So now I just have to wedge it in place. This has all been pretty easy. I've put these ones all in place. I'm actually around the side there, here, around the corner, and I've just got these ones to put in place now. And now I've got the last ones in place as well. So in 24 hours or so I'll take these struts away and then that'll all be done. And as a final thing, I'm just putting covers over the ventilation holes here. So I've got a couple of ventilation holes. I've angled down the insulation here. I'm sure that's overkill, but that's just to make sure if any water does splash up, it'll come out. And then these will just screw into the insulation board. I'm not making it long enough for them to go into the wall behind. I think it'll be fine for them just to be held on the insulation board there. Well, it went very well insulating below the damp course at the front. Now I'm going to start doing it at the back. And here I'm going to go up to 60 centimetres down, so using up the whole board. I'm going to dig away at this gravel here, and this is because there's actually a little cellar under here, and so the walls go down. They've just got gravel next to them, and I think they could get quite cold. So I'm going to insulate 60 centimetres down here, and that'll be nice and warm and also should look nice. Okay, that's the first one in place, and I've put some of the backfill back, and now I've excavated where the second one's going to go in, and that's all ready. I'll put that in place now. This is all coming along nicely now. Got about 3.6 metres done of it. Just a little bit more to go. So that's done now, both front and back. It was really very easy. There was no need for pins because it basically rests on the ground, and it seems there's no need for any render or paint either. And it also seems to make a difference inside because it was one of the coldest nights last night and there was relatively little condensation on the windows and none on the walls at all. So that's been really positive. Now we just need to finish the insulation at the front and then give a final coat of paint to everything, and also the final coat of silicone render on these walls, and we'll be absolutely finished.